We are talking about how concerned are we with the Nintendo Switch 2's future. This is based on two different things. The sales data for November came out, and it is at a 20-year low. And then there's also things out there saying that one of the major RAM producers is now consumer RAM producers are no longer making RAM for consumers. They are now switching over to AI. And then there was also a rumor out there that Samsung was going to stop producing their SATA SSDs. How concerned are we, you know, based on those two things, price wise, going forward, the sales data for the Nintendo Switch 2?
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. Just to also add some more context for the sales data, because I didn't put a lot of fine notes in there. Obviously, the Circana data came out. When he talks about the 20-year low, it's cumulative hardware, so all physical hardware. So this includes PlayStation 5, Switch 2, that next console you guys have seen pop up on lists, Xbox. It also includes, by the way, PC handhelds. So this is literally all hardware that's like that. Does not include, by the way, individual PC and laptop sales, because those aren't gaming specific necessarily. So they don't count those. They will count the gaming handhelds because those are obviously made to game on the go. So all-time low for the last 20 years. Only 1.6 million total hardware period, combining everything together, sold during the month of November. It's the lowest since 1995, which was 1.4 million. So a 20-year low. And yes, PlayStation did outsell Nintendo Switch 2. The rough estimates people have out there, they're able to kind of extrapolate based on percentages that were handed out by Matt Piscatella earlier, and then extrapolating from prior data, because we got further information such as PlayStation 5, even though it was the best seller, it's actually down 40% on sales year over year when it comes to the month of November. Xbox down 70%, which is, I don't think we're really surprised. We've seen the Xbox sales rapidly declining. Obviously for Switch 2, it's the first holiday, so there's no real decline. Switch 1 had a massive decline as well. I forgot what the percent was, but it was huge. Anyways, they were able to, because we know those percentages, able to figure out roughly what was being sold. And PlayStation's right around 770,000 they sold, and Switch 2's around 531,000. If you think about that, you combine those together, Switch 2 and PlayStation 5 out of that 1.6 make up 1.2, 1.3 million of the 1.6 sales. So you want to talk about two companies kind of carrying the hardware industry right now. They're the only ones carrying the hardware industry.
Actually, clarification, it was 95,
so
it's a
30 year. 30 year.
Yep.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is you consider that. You consider obviously the RAM problems. Besides what Eric stated, there's also reports out there that Nintendo's RAM prices are already going up, which suggests that Nintendo may have already burned through all of their resources they had heading into launch. There's been reports out there about in the past how Nintendo was stockpiling raw resources before Switch 2 came out, because they knew some stuff were coming, probably the tariffs. They probably didn't know about all the RAM stuff going on. Well, they've apparently burned through all that. And so now the RAM they're getting for their current systems, we're talking about the literal RAM, that 12 gigabytes we're talking about, is now gone up 41% in cost to Nintendo.
Yep.
Yeah. In cost to Nintendo. So Nintendo is factually losing money selling Switch 2s. It just is what it is. They are losing money. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Per unit. I'm not saying in total you buy a game, obviously it's probably profitable for them. So I do think it's really, really interesting. Because obviously, this probably isn't the way any place. I'm sure PlayStation 5 is not happy with these sales numbers this holiday. Now, to be fair, when PS5 was probably having their first internal projections, they thought GTA 6 was coming out this year. So that would have been I think that would have been a huge boost regardless, but it didn't. It's delayed, and now delayed a full year from when it was supposed to come out this year. So And then obviously Switch 2. I don't know obviously what Nintendo's projections are. We know their fiscal year projections are 19 million shipped. We, according to Paul Gale, have data that Nintendo has already hit 15 million shipped as of December 5th. But Paul Gale actually gave a really great breakdown earlier on X, and I just want to shout him out because that's where I'm getting some of these numbers from. Nintendo sold like almost 1 million units in the first week of December worldwide. It's worldwide numbers. That's insane. So, and they sold about 1.89 million in November worldwide, and that is actually their second highest selling month besides launch month. So it was still a good month for Nintendo, to be clear. But like if you look at the monthly breakdowns, it wasn't like crazy above non-holiday months. Now December looks like it's definitely going to be trending ahead. We haven't even gotten to the big sale period in Japan, which is like the last week of December, right after Christmas. Is like when they have their like Cyber Week, Black Friday stuff, and they just go nuts with video game sales at that time. So you know that's going to play a factor in December as well. But setting all that aside, I think that there is, I think less. I'm less concerned about Switch 2. It's more so a general industry concern. We see multiple price hikes already due to tariffs, increased cost of things. Now RAM's going up. Hey, guys, it ain't just Nintendo the RAM went up for. It's up for Sony and Xbox as well. Meaning you can see further price increases for them next year. I don't think they'll do it now, obviously, while we're during the holidays, but you know, it's a really bad look to increase the price during the holidays. But I can see more price increases coming next year. We hear rumors about like the PlayStation 6, right? Like, you know, they're supposed to have this hybrid handheld to compete with Switch 2, and it's supposed to be, you know, the most recent rumor is, you know, it's going to be cheaper than what? What, the base PS6 that at this point might be $1,000? Yeah, I hope it's cheaper than that. I hope it's a lot cheaper than that. Hope it's priced around 500 like Switch 2. But like more and more the signs keep happening that things are just going to get more and more expensive moving forward. And so I do think there's a general industry problem, and I think it's a consumer problem, and it's not a problem for the consumer. It's a problem of the economy. People worldwide don't have the spare money we did during COVID or even before COVID. Rapid inflation, rapid changing economies. You know, I see this with my bills. You know, I spent less on games this year, despite Switch 2 coming out. I spent less than I did the year before because it's just I don't have the same kind of money. Because even though, yeah, it's my biggest revenue year ever as a channel. Yeah, well, how about my bills doubling in price? How about that? How about my cell phone bill out of nowhere is now $100 more because of fees and taxes that I didn't have last year? Fucking bullshit. I'm sorry, it's fucking bullshit. But it's everything. Grocery prices going up. Everything. It's just it eats away and chips away at you, and then you start thinking, "Hey, man, oh look, I need to go buy some socks, and I don't like having like the super dirt cheap dollar store." You know that it's like putting fucking cling wrap on your feet. There's no padding. There's no layer. You know, like I get why people buy them. Like you have to have those available. But like, I'm sorry, man, I'm 39. I'm ready to have a little bit nicer feeling sock. I don't need to be premium. You know, I don't need the Gucci sock. But you know, Costco brand socks at least. You know what I mean? Like, so
those are solid.
Yeah, and those are even twice as expensive as they were a year ago.
Yeah.
When I went to buy some more last month, I'm like, Jesus, why are these like? Look, I know it's not like a crazy amount of money, but dude, I have my receipt from last year. They were not this much. So it's like everything's going up. So I think there's just, you know, and obviously jobs don't keep up with inflation. They can't. It would actually just make inflation go even quicker and rise even higher. So like we want you know, pay raises that, but like it actually wouldn't fix anything. So in the end, I think there's just a worldwide problem with this. Video game consoles are a luxury item. I think people forget about this. This is not like TV, where technically free TV still exists. So if you could just get your hands on a television, you can use an antenna still and get free TV in the US. So you can argue that, like, hey, you have a bit of a right to certain levels of entertainment. You know, turn on the radio. Right, it's still free for now.
For now.
to turn on AM and FM radio, still free for now. I don't know if it'll. Look, we already have paid radio and XM. I don't know what would happen.
Don't worry.
They start charging for FM and AM.
Don't worry, your automobile manufacturers are going to start charging you monthly subscriptions to the radio.
To access the radio. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I could definitely see that.
So I think that's a larger problem than anything that these companies are doing in particular. I think a lot of this is basically outside of their control. As much as people bitch about how expensive Switch 2 is, guys, you can literally, we already know it was costing $410 per unit to get it from manufacturing to the retail store, meaning the retail store had a $40 margin. That's what they were paying for. We know that thanks to someone stealing units off a truck. So we found out publicly how much retail's paying. So like Walmart per unit is paying $410 to get a Switch 2 unit to their store. So that's what they're paying Nintendo. Now, obviously, we don't know how much of that 410 is any profit margin for Nintendo. We don't know. But the breakdowns from the shipping manifest. So how much it costs to even get the unit into the US. We know this thanks to tariffs. One benefit of the tariffs is, hey, we know what the tariff add is to the price because we know the tariffs are based on how much it costs to ship it in. So we found out that price, and it turns out the margins were already kind of thin for Nintendo. And now they're gone. They're absolutely gone. So Nintendo's losing money per unit sold. I'm kind of tired of hearing about how it's overpriced and everything, because it's really not. Not in this economy, it's not. You might talk about how it's cheaper in Japan. Yeah, their economy is even worse. Just give it time. They're going to bounce back. What are you going to say when the yen bounces back and then suddenly it's the same price, you know? I feel like they're definitely in trouble in the sense that momentum could be lost quite quickly. For all these consoles, by the way, because people are having less and less money to buy premium luxury items. That's what I'm going to call it. Not saying you can't buy entertainment, but the premium side, you know, cheapest PS4, $400. Cheapest Switch 2, $450. Cheapest Xbox, can you even find one on the store shelf? I mean, the cheapest, what is the next box? And even go look at that, it's $250. Like, oh, that seems like a steal. I'm like, is it? It's a system that's never getting new games. It just comes pre-packed with a set amount of games, and that's what you get.
For what?
For $250.
No, what did you call it? The what? The next box?
The next.
Oh,
NEX.
Oh yeah. The one that actually did some numbers.
Yeah. It beat out Xbox. Yeah. And it's obvious why it did. It's a nice little neat family system for, especially when you have kids, like young kids. I guess, you know, it's basically revisiting the Wii days. It's really what it is. So it's understandable. Although it's more Kinect style than Wii, but it's fine. You know, that style I always felt like the Kinect was just a little bit ahead of its time. They needed to wait a little bit to have a no controller motion gaming, which, by the way, is nothing new. PlayStation iToy. Come on.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, yeah, we've tried this before. Anyways, yeah, I think it's just we're in a bad economic situation that leads to the luxury items finally getting hit. They've kind of somehow, as Matt Piscatella put it, avoided really getting major hits this year, in large part because Switch 2 popped off so quick. It's also possible, let me have to throw this out there, that hey, because Switch 2 was never really truly sold out outside of like launch week, you know, some of the sales that would have happened in November kind of could have happened more front end than back end for the holidays. And on top of that, Nintendo didn't release a single exclusive system seller this holiday season. Sorry, Kirby. Sorry, Age of Imprisonment. You guys are exclusives, but I don't think a lot of people are going to pick up a system just to play you. And while we have obviously Pokemon, I was hoping Pokemon would be better because of the bundle. They never restocked the bundle, so the bundle ended up not mattering at all in November.
Yeah,
So
I really think they should have had a big big holiday exclusive. I mean, I talked about it on the podcast all year.
Yeah, we
What's
talked
going to
about
be the
this
big holiday game? What's
Yeah.
going to be the big
Have
holiday
one more
game?
announcement, then it'll be at the September Direct. It'll be at the September, and then it just wasn't.
I thought for sure there would be something just because it that's what you do.
Yeah,
So
right? Like you have Mario Odyssey the first holiday, you're gonna have Kirby Air Riders, another racing game. Yeah, what? So don't be wrong, it's a fantastic game, but it's just not a system seller. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think that a lot accumulated to make Switch 2 not sell quite as well. I mean, 500,000 by the way is nothing to scoff at. It's had second best month since
Right.
launch. Like it's nothing to actually like, oh my gosh, this is like horrendous. Like no, PlayStation and Nintendo still did numbers, and there's still demand for those systems, and they're going to continue to, like, there might be the only things that continue to do numbers, but they're going to continue to do some numbers. But I think there is this thing where if Nintendo, especially like, and we'll get into this in a future episode before the end of the year about all the games coming out. Like even when you look at that list of games Nintendo has currently listed for next year, none of them are like system selling games. Like they're all we're still living in the B tier Nintendo scene. The big guns haven't been revealed besides Dustbloods potentially. With what Elden Ring did number wise, you have to always be like, oh wait, well it's from Software, so maybe new IP. So it's sort of hard to rely on a new IP to be a system seller, but maybe that could be the sleeper bang hit that just blows everyone away and gets nominated for a bunch of awards next year out of nowhere. So we do have to consider that potential. Everything else is like, sports games or, Yoshi and stuff like that. I know Fire Emblem unfortunately looks great, but Fire Emblem has never been a system seller. But we'll see. If it's more like Three Houses, maybe this one could be a little different. We think Gen 10's Pokemon is coming next year and will be exclusive, but what if it's not? What if it's another cross-gen Pokemon game?
I think Nintendo goes big next holiday. I
think they haven't revealed the big game for next year. At least I hope not.
Yeah.
But I'm reminded of this year. We kept saying, oh, there has to be another game. And then they're just never. So what if there'll be more games next year, but what if it's Pokemon and then that's it? They don't have anything like big. Be wild. I feel like
that's the cool thing. No, go ahead.
Ocarina of Time remake might be one of them, potentially. I think they could find a way to make that be a system seller because to people who got introduced to Zelda with Breath of the Wild, which is a huge chunk of the Zelda audience now, they might just view it as a new game, straight up. And as long as it looks modern and great, it actually might do some crazy numbers for them. I know it'll obviously do numbers with the people like me and others that played it in the past, but I think that's got a chance. And even then, as long as the problem is it's not going to get a 99. Like, how do you live up to the legacy of a 99? Like, it might objectively be better and still not. It's not getting a 99. It's just that'll never happen again. There's just too many critics that get counted in all these scores now compared to back then, so it just won't happen again. People forget that. Like, you go look at the total reviews for Ocarina of Time when it's a 99, it's paltry. Like today, if that was the total number of reviews, we'd be like, there isn't even enough reviews yet to know what this is. But there was less review outlets back then, so. But yeah, and you can see this with like Ocarina of Time when it's been re-released, like the Ocarina of Time 3D. It's not a 99. But I think that could be a system seller, and I really think that we're just in a look. It's a tough situation for all the systems. I feel even worse for Sony. I don't think things are going to suddenly be better in 2027 when they're probably looking to launch PS6. I think it's going to be even worse. And I don't know how you launch a premium, under your TV powerful box in 2027 that has to clearly have a price point that's still going to be a loss per sale, but is going to be higher than PS5's current price, which is pretty expensive. Why even be higher than the PS5 Pros? That's $750. So it's a very difficult marketplace that we exist in. And I guess maybe the only hope would be What if the AI bubble bursts next year? Then prices will come crashing down as they rapidly try to find any home for this RAM. You know, like that is a hope some people have that it'll eventually pop. I don't think it's gonna pop next year because like all you guys remember, like for AI, the reason there's such a high demand is you gotta make data centers of this shit. Massive mega billion-dollar data centers of this shit. So like that takes a while to build out that infrastructure. So I don't think the bubble's coming yet. I think the bubble burst maybe in 5 years, where they realize maybe they went a little too hard and there's too many data centers. We didn't need quite as many.
I mean, I don't know. People are starting to push back against the data centers. So
Sure.
Yeah, I wonder why.
yeah, right.
when all their electric bills triple.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Yeah, there's pushback, but you know what? There's more of AI being put into everything.
Oh, I know.
And guess what? As I walk around and I'm in public, I'm literally watching people glancing at their phones. Sorry, I know it's creepy. They're using AI. The general populace is using it all the time. Like all the time. So as much pushback as there is, it doesn't matter because people are using it. And I mean that's the and I don't even want to say it's a bad thing. Yeah, AI is a tool. I don't care the tool exists. I just having it in everyone's hands. I just don't know if that's a smart idea, but it's there. We're here. This is our reality. OpenAI, ChatGPT, you know, I'm just scratching the surface. There's so many other AIs. That's just one of the more people know what that one is, especially because there's Apple integration with ChatGPT. But yeah, I think we're at a point where for the first time since launch, you know, there's a smidge of concern. I'm not too worried about this fiscal year. I think Nintendo will get close to their 19 million they're projecting, I think. But you know, it dropping $50 during Cyber Week could have been highly likely due to these lower than expected sales the week before for Black Friday. Walmart's the one that started it. Walmart might have saw weak sales for Switch 2 compared to what they expected. So they figured we got to move units. Let's chop $50 off the bundle. We got, you know, a million of these bundles sitting in a warehouse. Let's chop the price. So that's also a little concerning. But I think in the end, as long as Nintendo finally brings out the big guns, things will be all right. I think that's really the pause right now. Like you gotta have gotta have games. They gotta have it. And I don't think they've. I love Donkey Kong Bonanza. You can pass and had a fantastic time with games this year. There's so many great games. I will not say it's a gotta have a game. Breath of the Wild in 2017 felt like you gotta have it. Everyone was talking about it. No one could shut up. It was unlike anything people had seen in a long time, sometimes ever. The way that game was structured at that time. Much more common now. We've seen a lot more games inspired by it. But back then, it combined a bunch of things together that, yeah, other games had done, but they've never done it like this at the same time all together in one game. So it felt like you got to play this thing. It's a 97. You know what a 97 is? Top 5 game of all time. All time. Like, period. All time. Throughout all of gaming history. That's a gotta have it game. Gotta play it. Gotta be there. Gotta be part of it. I want to be part of the memory of one of the greatest games to ever release. Nintendo doesn't have anything like that announced yet. I don't think even anything they have announced for next year, besides maybe Dust Bloods, and even then, we don't know yet with that game. It could also go the other direction. I trust Miyazaki that it won't go the other direction, but maybe he finally has his first miss. First time for everything. So, yeah, I have concern, but I would say if you want to like rank my concern levels, like, you know, if you're going to red alerts, like, oh my God, emergency, we're screwed. Or if you're just kind of like at a yellow where it's like, hey, a little mild, you know, a little worried, but it could go back to a green light and be good. That's where I'm kind of at. I think it's fine to have a little bit of concern for the health of the industry and for Switch 2 possibly finding a cliff at some point here. And I don't just mean Cliff like falling off the pace of being the fastest selling system ever. It's gonna fall off the pace, I assume, at some point. Like that, it's only natural. But that's not what matters. What matters is being able to maintain a consistent sales pace for Nintendo and a consistent software sales pace, which is just as important. So we'll see. I know I'm going to keep buying games. All of us on the panel will, but not everyone will. So people are cutting back. So it'll be interesting to see if Nintendo can release some bangers that make people go, you know what? Fuck it. Wasn't planning to buy a system, but dude, I was watching the trailer of that new 3D Mario. Holy fucking shit. Like, I can't wait to play that. I have to play that day one. I'm going to go get a Switch 2 right now. So I can get my account set up and everything transferred over and play around with it and see what I like and don't like. And if I need accessories, and make sure I'm set up for when that new Mario game's here. Like that's what I feel like they kind of need. And I think they kind of need it sometimes for the narrative too. Because I do think that the low sales and the RAM stuff going on has kind of also added to remember that negative narrative we've been having all year about some of the decisions Nintendo's made and how they get criticized for all this stuff. This kind of adds to that. Hey, it's culminating in a kind of a disappointing holiday so far, which is exactly what some of those negative people were saying was going to happen. So maybe they were right. And that's something that has to be considered as well. But right now, I think we're just in like a yellow alert situation that could go to red alert. But I won't be there until, if we get to a month where there's a cumulative worldwide sales of like less than 300,000 units. Yeah, that's fucking red alert time for a brand new system. So that's where I'm at. Tiger, what are you thinking, man?
Yeah, so am I scared?
Sorry. I was scared for you.
Yeah, no, that's a good sound. That's pretty similar to the sound I make, really, to be honest. But I'm not going to make that sound, though, right now, because I'm not scared. So basically, when I see these numbers and I see how Switch 2 is still setting records, even among all of the bad press about what's going on with tech right now and the price of everything. I mean, if anything, that's an encouraging sign to me that Switch 2 is still doing this on top of, like you said, Nate, not really having, a real banger to sell the system. The fact that this is still happening, even though, I think about all the people that are making like 40 to 45K a year and are paying over $2,000 in rent, or a 2-bedroom home that has, 1 bathroom and a basement, if you're lucky, is like $500,000. And still the Switch 2 is it's still moving units. If anything, that's an encouraging sign to me. It's just crazy. Switch 2's competition. The PS5 costs more than it did when it launched. So, and on top of that, the PS5, again, they're not releasing first-party games that are actually like Naughty Dog. The last game they had was The Last of Us Part 2. It's just crazy. These other systems aren't releasing real bangers either, and the PS5 is even moving still decently well. And again, I think that, even though that's competition, and this is specifically in my word about the Switch 2, the fact that those two consoles, even though they're both not releasing banger software, they're both pretty darn expensive relative to what people's expectations are and their paychecks are, they're still moving. It does give me more of an optimistic spin on this. I think the AI angle, AI is wild. I dabble in the stock market, and AI is it's a wild ride. It's everything in AI is up 300, 400, 500% year to date. And what's that?
Sorry, it's just insane.
It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. And yes, AI is applicable, like you said, also, Nate. People are using ChatGPT, Perplexity, whatever it is, they're using it. It's helping people out. Browsers are trying to integrate it in every way they can. I know that every time I use Google now. The AI response is what I'm reading rather than digging through, or it's summarizing my Reddit search, whatever it is. It's certainly useful and applicable, but so much of it still feels like an idea. It sounds really nice and there's so much money going into it. And it's, that's kind of the bubble aspect of it. And it really does feel like, even though it is definitely coming for people's jobs, there are these real concerns, and we're losing some genuine aspects of art, actual human art we're losing out on from generative AI art. So, these things are definitely real. This isn't to discount that, but, at the end of the day, AI, so much of it is still an idea. It's so hyped. There's so much money going into it. And so much of these companies are overvalued. These tickers on the stock market, they're just, it's insane. It's just not sustainable. So in terms of the AI aspect, I mean, yeah, I'm concerned in terms of the prices increasing because of, again, those data centers and what they require in terms of resources. And those price increases are very real. When we're talking about PC parts, it's like 4 or 5x what it might be for a potential console increase. So that's also crazy. I know that people who are buying or building PCs have really been struggling with that. So, those things are all real too. That's definitely unsettling. But again, this AI stuff to me is not sustainable. I don't know what the time frame will be there. I think that, the resources that are being devoted to those will soon exhaust what they're actually going to be useful for. And, maybe they already have, even at this point, because there will be a point. Absolutely. But yeah, it's just wild, but I don't know. I'm not particularly worried about the Switch 2. I think that obviously the best software is still to come in terms of these price increases. I think the numbers that we're seeing now there's an optimistic spin to take on it. So yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, things are very expensive. And whenever I see this, or whenever I'm considering whether I'm going to buy this game, or, not necessarily a console really, but if I'm going to buy this game, it's good to remember the indie games, the backlogs in terms of what we can do right now, sort of thing. If you are struggling, that's something I always think about. Go support an indie game, buy like a $20 game, and that's a nice way to settle and kind of allow yourself to build up funds. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that it could definitely hurt for the next year or two, but I do think that at least the AI aspect of it, that is definitely a part of, the energy devotion and why Switch is potentially going to have an increase. I think that aspect is not sustainable. I also don't understand necessarily the aspects of, I'm assuming that they sign contracts. I know that in other areas with manufacturing, they sign contracts and there are certain fixed prices on manufacturing. And so I don't know if that's necessarily going to be applicable to RAM, SSDs, in terms of what the Switch 2, what kind of contracts Nintendo has entered with manufacturers. I don't necessarily know, but I know that in other areas, yeah, there can be contracts that at least keep the price within a certain range so it won't be so overinflated, so that it will be fixed to some stance. But I don't know if that applies to this situation, but that's something that popped into my head too when I saw this headline. But yeah.
All right, man. Let's throw it over. He goes last. Let's throw it over the stash. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay. You guys have all touched on a lot of great things. I think there's a lot of ramifications here.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. I was saving that for a while.
Why?
I was like, I gotta use that.
I didn't see that coming.
It sat there in my brain for like 2 seconds I had to think. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. Now, but in all seriousness, right? Nate, you said that this affects everyone. That is 100% the case. So this isn't just targeting Nintendo. This targets so many different companies, right? In the field of what we do, video games, technology. So it's going to hurt a lot of people. Bigger picture is that, yeah, prices continue to go up. Some things have went down, but on the whole, the things we are talking about, they're going up. Insurance costs going up, doctor visits, dentist visits, car repairs, you name it, right? All the things that are really just unavoidable. They got to be paid for, and those are all going up. So it is what it is. RAM, yes, RAM being one of them. Do I think the Switch 2 is going to go up in price? I don't. I think Nintendo priced it. And now I know Nintendo says some things to the outlets, but the reality is often different. And I do think they priced the Switch 2 appropriately for factors like this, rising costs. I do. I think they're going to be fine there. So I'm not necessarily concerned. As far as AI, since we were touching on that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I have my thoughts on it. Look, I was saying in chat, Michaela knows this too. I've been talking about AI like in a very, very, very serious manner. I remember even talking about it once at Lone Depot when I was giving like a speech in front of several hundred people. And I was talking about AI and how it's going to take a lot of jobs, a lot of people here. It's going to take your job. I remember when I talked about this, it was probably 2017 or 18. And that was the moment where some people were like, this dude knows something. He knows stuff. And then other people are like, this dude's batshit crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people who are like, this guy thinks a robot's going to take our job. It's like, no, you're not looking at the big picture. You're not looking at what I just explained. So I think AI is here. It's coming. It's going to take jobs. It already is. And again, like, you don't have to leave it up to your imagination at all. All you have to do is look across the world, go look at what's going on in other countries. China. Okay. I looked this up earlier when you guys are starting to talk about AI, so I could have some little bit of details. But in 2025, approximately 54 to 77% of jobs in China are estimated to be at high risk of substitution due to AI. While all jobs have not been taken, entire categories are seeing massive displacement as China implements its AI Plus plan to reach a 70% penetration rate for AI and applications by 2027. So we are 2 weeks away from 2026, right? So they're saying a year basically from now, 70% of the jobs will have AI agents and applications. And they're even approximating that up to 77% of jobs will be replaced by AI. Here's the thing that they don't talk about. they don't talk about how many jobs it's already replaced, which is a lot, which I have that list. But data entry clerks, accountants, bookkeepers, translators, legal assistants and clerks, customer service reps, receptionists, check-in clerks, telemarketers, coffee shop baristas, already happening, assembly line workers, warehouse and inventory managers, courier and delivery dispatchers, quality inspectors, entry-level programmers, illustrators and game designers, market research analyst, drivers, truck, taxi, delivery, bank tellers, medical transcriptionist, on and on. This list is very long. Okay. Fast food, obviously, we've already seen that. That happened in China a long time ago, actually. You know, when I was at Lone Depot, our owner, Anthony Shea, talked about this. And you know, he came down to Arizona, gave a great speech, but he was talking about the social credit score in China and how that will come over here. And I do believe it will too. I was looking at it. I'd seen a report about the number of suicides every year now in China because of people's social credit scores, that they're actually getting like locked out of society. Because you know, you can't fly, you can't ride the bus, you can't go buy groceries if your social credit score doesn't check out. There's a lot of things that go into it. And so people are just offing themselves. And the number of suicides it went up, I think it was like 3,000%, which is this is just insane. But again, like there's different parts of the world that are testing different things. And those things, a lot of them will come here. So again, like you don't have to use your imagination much. So those are like the real ramifications that I'm thinking about on a global scale, because it will come here. And so when we talk about RAM and we talk about video games, you know, people get in arguments online over this shit. It's like, bro, you have no idea what's coming. Like people are going to be in a world of pain in ways that you may not ever understand. Like, you won't understand. Yeah. And so I look at those are the things that are going to impact price. Those are the things that are going to impact whether you can buy something. How can you do it without a job? We deal with it too. All of us do on YouTube. Look at all these AI channels that are just popping out videos. There's no face, right? And now what's interesting, I think we talked about this 2 weeks ago, maybe. The amount of stock gamers put into a score, a number. You minimize this game that was worked on for 5-10 years to a number. You don't want to be thought of as a number. Nobody does. But we put that on a video game. And you know, that's just exactly what's going to happen now. That's what it'll be minimized to. It's not a good spot. I'm not trying to put out like fear porn. But this is serious. I've been talking about this for a very long time. It is coming. So yeah, I think people do best to just mentally prepare yourself for some of the things that matter more than all the things that we're talking about as well. Those are the bigger ramifications, is my point. Yes, RAM going up sucks, but let's look at the reasons why. Let's extrapolate that. Let's drill down. And then we start looking at everything else. What's going to happen? That's probably for another podcast, not even this one. You know what I mean? Like a whole different topic. Because it gets into some weird territory.
Yeah, it's important not to underestimate it, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to do because, like you said, people did think in terms of robots, but it's really more invisible and silent than that. And it's so easy to overlook because it's something you're not even really seeing. You know, it's interesting.
When I was at Lone Depot, they wanted the gal I worked with, Kristen. She was the VP. I was the director. They wanted us to basically start like implementing and training AI to take jobs at the company. We both had like a real serious talk together, just her and I, like we always did. More or less, like how you feel about this? Like just on a moral level, okay? Like shoot straight, because you know this is coming. I know this is coming. Us saying no isn't going to stop anything. Us saying no is going to mean we don't get a paycheck anymore, and they bring somebody else in to train AI, right? That's the gist of it. There's so many people right now that are doing their job every day, and they don't even know that they are training AI. At least we knew what was going on, but there's software that are installed on your workstations that watch everything you do, and that's training AI. People don't even know that they're training their replacement. It's gonna be very interesting, guys.
Yeah, that's interesting. Even, my workplace, there have been times when someone said, hey, why don't we integrate AI into your workflow? It'll improve things. And they're so excited about it. In the back of my head, it is unsettling how excited they are. It's strange. And just like you were saying, it is weird because they're excited. They see it as a tool, but also there's something underneath there too. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people I know are getting this. They're talking about it in chat too. About their workplace, saying, hey, all the emails now need to use AI. Michaela's mom, she works in title and escrow for homes, right? For properties. It's a pretty labor intensive job, and there's a lot of tribal knowledge in this position that you accrue over decades of doing it. They want her to use AI on everything now. Everything. It's gonna be interesting. That's all I gotta say.
Even like including like customer names and account numbers and things like that. Because if that's a recipe for some sort of
loan numbers, socials.
People
address.
give all that information to chat
plugging that into
every
AI
day too.
Oof.
Well, absolutely. AI has access to all of that because, I mean, your credit report is pulled. It's your social. It's all your account numbers, your credit card numbers. We have your bank statements.
Yeah.
We have everything that is of any value to you, all your assets, liabilities, you name it. So AI has access to all of that.
This is why when the YouTube career ends, guys, I'm going to be living in a ditch. The only thing they can't take from me is me, baby.
And your mustard stained shirt.
Yeah, dude.
That's if I even still have a shirt, because they could take that, I don't know.
I've thought about that too. Like, where do you go? What happens?
Live off the land, baby.
Boy Scouts by the river.
True. So glad that I had Boy Scouts, baby. I'll survive off the land.
Yeah, that's good. That's good training, man.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, AI even has our brains, It's like so many people use it. So many people use it as like their psychologist and like their mental health.
You know what's scary?
Yep. It's crazy.
So like you talk about, how like AI is obviously not at the level of being necessarily more intelligent than humans, because all it can do is regurgitate information, right? It can't necessarily do more than that. But I will tell you this, having been in the room with certain people in my life, I'm going to tell you right now, I get why people talk to AI. Some people,
guys, some
people are not very, very bright.
Guys, the topic is Switch 2 holiday sales. What is happening?
Hey, dude, there were other topics we had in the past, and then all of a sudden, you and Stash are both like, yeah, everyone's got mental illness. That's the problem. I'm like, it's out of fucking nowhere.
Which we've been proven right.
Hey,
Here we go.
Let me give you my final answer, though. I guess I'm not concerned about Switch 2 sales. I think it's doing fantastic worldwide. I think there's going to be system sellers in 2026. I think we're going to get crazy third-party support. But also, I think the biggest two things we don't want to underestimate that are really going to help drive sales is the Mario movie, because it's going to have that domino effect for all the other Mario IP. And then the following year, the Zelda movie to do the same. So, again, you look at the numbers when the Mario movie came out and how it benefited greatly all the other software because new people were buying Switches. I think we see very similar things happen.
Okay. All right. Let's toss it over to
What a game bird.
the Birdman.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's anytime you see sales that the numbers aren't what you were hoping, it's disappointing. Obviously, I wish the story for Switch 2 was that the sales were just insane throughout the holiday. I wish the same for PlayStation 5. I wish the same for Xbox. Hearing that Xbox's sales are down 70% is devastating. It's just bad for the industry. You want these companies succeeding. You want them kicking butt. You want healthy competition and to feel the sense of. Hold on, sorry guys.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa now. Buddy, the time for that is after the show. What is going on back there? Are we about to hear a little.
No, he's got it muted.
Sorry guys. What I was saying was you want to hear amazing things basically, and so anything short of that is always going to be disappointing. And I mean, my experience going out on Black Friday, going to Best Buy was a sad state. There was like two, maybe three people in the store other than myself, which was super. I hadn't seen anything like it personally on Black Friday. We know that the cost of living has skyrocketed. We know that there is a jobs crisis right now. Like people can't find jobs right now. Mass layoffs across not just the gaming industry, all industries. I know the company I work for has had major layoffs over the years. We have AI taking jobs. We have AI breaking into gaming, movies, all sorts of things. And me personally, I think that AI shit is wild. I think it's crazy. I think it's insane that AI is not being regulated. Like there's no regulation at all. It's the Wild West. I also think that AI is overpromising, at least in the near future. I don't see a lot of the huge promises over the next 5 to 10 years.
I'll tell you why it's not regulated. Hold on. Have you ever paid attention to like some of the court proceedings that happen at times around the tech industry?
No, I haven't.
The government is so clueless. They're still trying to figure out what like .org versus .net means. This is like literally a thing that came up in a court case last year. And they are so far behind in the legal system of understanding basic tech. Like by the time they try to get a hold of AI, it'll be too late.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think AI is over promised. I don't think it's going to be a thing where in 5-10 years it solves all these problems and runs all these industries better than people can. I think it's going to be interesting to see, like, because AI, obviously, I mean, my company, again, we use AI a ton. I know for a fact it's affected jobs at my company for a fact, but
What?
AI makes mistakes. We have people cross-checking reports that AI handles every single day, every single line item, because AI makes mistakes. I'm curious to see legal ramifications when some sort of AI mistake. Who do you sue? Do you sue the company using the AI? Do you?
That's probably who you sue. Yeah.
Probably. So there's going to be interesting ramifications, but The other thing is that AI pulls from what people have already created. So when we think about video games, when we think about art, AI pulls from art that already exists and creates based on that. We saw this with Marathon. Some artists' art got pulled, and used by AI in the game Marathon. It was a huge thing. When we stop using artists, when we stop using like graphic designers and animators, and it's just AI, what happens when AI is pulled from everything? What do we just get the same shit forever then? When there's no new thought, no new ideas, it's just pulling. They've pulled from everything. Then what? So I think there's been an overpromise, unless there's like major, huge developments that happen. I think it's overpromised. I think it's very doom and gloom. I think it's very dystopian. I think it's just the state of the world. It's unfortunate. Nate, you said it. Stash, you said it. Video games, they're a luxury. It's one of the things that's going to be negatively affected by everything that's going on in the world. Not just that, movies as well. Art in general is like pretty cooked. Any art form, music, it's insane. Again, it's the Wild West. And I'm not worried about Switch 2. I think that despite it not being like this insane, mind-blowing record Black Friday for the company, its numbers are showing that it's selling very well. It's having a very good first 6 months on the market. We're at about 15 million units sold. We could possibly add a couple, 2, maybe even 3 million to that by the end of the fiscal year. That's nearly 19 million in less than a year. That's really impressive stuff. That's better than the Wii U. That's close to surpassing the GameCube. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I just mean like as far as like overall and stuff. Like the console's making strides, and I think ultimately what's gonna happen is that the Switch 2 success is gonna live or die on the software. I think I've said this before on the podcast. If Nintendo can maintain a healthy software lineup year after year without droughts, with great AA experiences, great indie experiences, and great AAA experiences, I think they're going to be set up for success. I do think not having a big blockbuster holiday title is a miss. There's a reason why I was hyping it up when I thought there was going to be one, because it just makes sense. I don't think that's going to be the case next year. I think they're going to have probably their biggest blockbuster title to date for Switch 2 next holiday. So we'll have to wait and see. But my hope is that this console continues to sell well. I hope that PS5 continues to sell well. And hopefully, some positive things come Microsoft way. I don't know. It's hard to foresee a positive story with Microsoft right now. There's just been so much bad news with that platform and that company, unfortunately. I'd love to see a future where they're able to pull themselves out of the hole that they're in right now. But we'll have to wait and see on that front. But it is telling. We just had the Game Awards. You guys all saw the nominees. There's some amazing games this year, from indies like Hades 2 and Silksong to some of the lesser known incredible indies like Blueprints or Ball Pit, to huge AAA games like Kingdom Come Deliverance and Claire Obscure is an indie game, but like those more what you imagine as those AAA experiences, Death Stranding 2 and Donkey Kong Bonanza, as well as dozens of other games. There's games that should have been nominated, in my opinion, like Trails in the Sky First Chapter should have been in RPG of the Year. It made no sense to have Monster Hunter there. Trails is the superior game and a better RPG through and through. So games kicked ass last year. This industry should be doing well. It's a sad state, man. It's not video games. It's not Nintendo. It's not a Switch 2 problem. It's a Switch 2 problem when the system's not profitable and failing to meet any sort of expectations. That's a Switch 2 problem. We're not there yet. Hopefully we never are there. I don't foresee that happening. But We just have a worldwide problem in all aspects of life. It's coming for us. It's dystopic. It's jacked up. Buckle up, grab a bag of popcorn, and enjoy the ride because it's all gonna burn.
Oh God. We
And
went
that's
from
my
being
thoughts.
a show to a cynic. All right, Eric, bring us home, buddy. It's your topic.
Yeah, so to clarify a couple things, Micron is the company that announced that they are going to stop producing consumer
Crucial.
RAM,
Yep.
crucial consumer RAM. And I did look. I should have did this beforehand, but Switch 2 does not use SATA SSDs, so technically, if Samsung did stop creating those for consumers, it wouldn't really have any sort of effect on the Switch 2. But still, damn it. And anyways, with those two kind of corrections / a little bit more insiders, fuck AI. I fucking hate it. Do I think it has its uses? Absolutely. But I think they're very few and far between. And I think it should only be used to enhance things, not generate anything, not do anything else. It just fuck it. That's all. I mean, that's really all I have to say. I'm so pissed right now. I literally just absolutely hate AI.
Amen, brother.
Am I concerned about the Switch 2's future? Maybe not right now, but I can definitely see how things could eventually get to a point where this will affect not only the Switch 2, but the whole industry, and it's gonna topple. It could. It's
an industry thing. At the end of the day, Switch 2 is the affordable barrier of entry.
And the reason, I mean, yeah, I could have titled this as, concern for the industry, but we're a Nintendo podcast, so that's why I kind of added the Switch 2 twist in there. Obviously, it's going to affect the whole industry, but like I said, it's more of we're a Nintendo podcast, so it's, obviously, how concerned are you on the Switch 2's future? Which I think we're all still timidly, optimistic, but yet at the same point in time, we could see a point where it could go down the shitter, for lack of a better word.
Sure.
I'm super optimistic.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have no timidness in me.
No.
Yeah.
For the record.
Stats just wanted to clarify. No chance. Zero. None.
Yeah. No chance in hell. Like Vince McMahon would say.
That's right. So if it does go bad, going down with the ship, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it goes bad, everything else is going bad.
Because my whole channel relies on Nintendo being relevant. So
no, if it goes bad, we'll have other problems to worry about.
Yeah, right.
There will be greater ramifications.
I'm sure plenty more industries will go under before gaming will, but still, this was kind of, I just saw some of the news and thought this could be an interesting topic to touch on, just because of how it could affect, the industry and the Switch too.
Yeah.
It's really important to have these conversations.
Worst topic of all time.
Yeah, right.
Or that.
I had to slip it in. I'm like, he's about to say, yeah, right. Let me slip in something. Worst topic of all time. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no. I mean, you're probably not wrong. So,